Alfonso Cuaron is an incredibly efficient filmmaker. This may not be the accolade you'd expect to see put on a filmmaker known for his beautifully choreographed long shots and whimsical pacing, but it's what I noticed the most, especially when I watch his 2004 film, The Prisoner of Azkaban. Even when I talk about Harry Potter 3, what probably comes to mind is the restless, wandering camera or the redesigned soundscape, not its efficiency. So what does this even mean? What is efficiency in filmmaking? There's an awesome example of this in Baby Driver, directed by Edgar Wright. Let's be honest, there are hundreds of examples of this in Baby Driver, but let's just look at one. In this scene, Baby and Deborah are sitting at the diner talking about music. They're trying to think of songs with their names in the title that they can listen to. She says that there's only one song called Deborah.
You got two.
What's the other one?
Deborah, the song I'm talking about.
Who by?
Trex.
T-Rex?
Yeah.
Wow. It's an easy moment to miss when you're watching the film, but it actually tells us so much. Baby has been isolated his whole life, and music is one of the only things he has. The only people he interacts with are criminals that treat him like a baby, and a deaf caretaker. Deborah is the first person that he's been able to open up to in years. Because of this, he had only read the name T-Rex and never said it out loud. We get so much backstory in this tiny exchange. That's efficiency. Here's another example from Sicario, directed by Denis Villeneuve. In this scene, we have Kate looking in through a glass wall at a new, mysterious person. And we get this shot. We've only just been introduced to this character, but we know so much. We know that this character doesn't care about decorum and procedure, and that's something that is definitely paid off later in the film. That's efficient filmmaking. So what do we learn from these two quick examples? These are both super short moments that through writing, performance, camera work, etc. give us insight into a character or setting in the film. Efficient filmmaking is about how much can be said with how little, and how multi-purpose any single element or moment can be. In both the examples above, there were multiple things going on at once. In Baby Driver, the scene is about Baby and Deborah growing closer together. A less efficient film would have had a separate scene where Baby talks about feeling isolated. But this film is able to do that inside other scenes. In Sicario, the scene is about recruiting Kate to a new task force, but inside that we're able to introduce a new character that's a major player moving forward. So let's take this back to The Prisoner of Azkaban. With this new idea of efficiency, we can see that Alfonso Cuaron is using every opportunity to tell his story and develop characters better and be entertaining, sometimes all in a single shot. There are so many examples of this, but I want to look at what might be the simplest. We're gonna look at the Whomping Willow. The first time we see the Whomping Willow is 29 minutes into the movie. Everyone is finally at Hogwarts and classes are about to start. The sequence starts with 4 shots of a bird flying around the castle. Then we get a shot of the bird flying towards the willow. Then a final shot of the tree flicking and killing the bird. Then we move right into the first class scene. In just 30 seconds, so much has happened. First, we're trying to transition from the first act of the film into the second act, and we need some time to breathe and reset. This 30 seconds is a transition. Second, the shots of the bird flying around the castle set up different locations where important scenes will take place. From Hagrid's house to the bridge where Harry and Lupin talk about Harry's parents, and finally to the Whomping Willow, which is our third setup. We see the violent tendencies of the willow. In just 30 seconds, look how much Cuaron is able to do in terms of pacing and geography and setup. That's great filmmaking. This setup continues when we see the willow again about an hour into the film as it transitions from winter to spring, and then finally an hour and a half into the film when Harry and Hermione have to get past its attacks to follow Ron. A sequence that we're perfectly prepped for by the first time we saw the willow 30 minutes into the film. Once you start looking for it, you'll see this approach implemented all through The Prisoner of Azkaban and countless other good films. A scene has a plot point that it needs to cover, but inside that we get subtle developments in character and theme and style in little things like a look or a camera movement or a shot held just a little bit longer. Techniques like this really help us engage and enjoy the films made by great filmmakers like Alfonso Cuaron. Hey, thanks so much for watching this video. I hope that you enjoyed it and learned something. If you did learn something, please leave a like below. That really helps boost me up in the YouTube algorithm. If you want to see more videos like this, make sure to subscribe. I put out a new video every Friday.